Right now, there's a coding revolution happening, and it's taking place somewhere you might not expect, the regional centre of Gympie in Queensland. It's the work of high school teacher Ken Brady, who's created a coding and game design syllabus that might just transform Gympie into a tech hub. So Ken, how did you go from teaching maths to teaching coding here at Gympie High?
I was very lucky. I had a very supportive principal, Murray Wegner, who, when I pitched the idea to him of being able to introduce a program that would engage students, he was very supportive and helped me get some funding to start that off. I was able to tap into some voc ed curriculum and develop that around game design and game development. And that's grown over time. It's turned into a Certificate 4 course now. And then more recently, I've managed to get some federal funding to be able to grow that even bigger and branch out into the 3D modelling side of things, the programming side of things, game development, game design.
Thank you. All right, Ken, so this is your domain.
Yep.
Talk me through it.
Well, this was originally a science classroom, which we've custom built.
Okay.
Specially set up this way. I've made sure that all the kids have got dual monitors for their work. Sometimes when I have other teachers come in here, they think it's a big boys' bedroom rather than actually a classroom. But it sets a perfect environment for the kids to be able to learn gaming in here like this. It'd be very static and sterile if I didn't have the posters up here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a bit of a different classroom. You've got posters of games on the wall. How do you keep the kids controlled and how do you keep them focused on what they need to be doing?
Well, I mean, the great thing is obviously the kids want to be here, so it doesn't take much to be able to engage them. But then it's about being able to introduce these tricky concepts to them in a way that they can break them down and be able to learn them. So I've got a couple of processes where I can take control of the students' screens and have my screen on theirs so that they can be concentrating and mimicking exactly what I'm doing at the same time. That will be me introducing the initial concept. From there, they go away and practice and repeat that process a number of times so they can get those steps down. I'll give you some hints. It's a combo of left and right mouse button which lets you do stuff.
Oh, that's...
The kids are allowed to come in at break times, so they feel like this can be their safety space, so they can come in and work on their project work, they can play other games that they might be playing, they might be desktop card games, they might be other computer games that they're playing. But then I also have the ability for students to be able to borrow from my class library of games, which we've set up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we've got a fairly extensive library of games that date back from now all the way back, say, for the
Old school, seriously.
last decade or more. That's
So
right.
how does this work? The kids get to take games out whenever they want?
No. Students have to earn access to the library.
They earn access?
That's right.
How do
So
they do that?
They have to have completed their first project successfully.
Okay.
And then they have to contribute to the library as well. They're all dual layer set up.
You're
So we've
joking?
got-
Is it under a Dewey Decimal System or is it just how you keep them organised?
Unfortunately, no, it's just simply in an access database so that I can tell who's borrowed what.
It's still pretty good.
It's one of those classes where I find that because they're so motivated to want to get the end product there, that even the students who would normally be struggling, they're really keen to put in that extra bit of time. But then the fantastic thing about the class is they're also a very supportive group. And so the top kids are very happy. Hey, I see you stuck. Can I give you a hand? Help you out with that particular thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a good community that we could go in here because if someone does need help, they can be like, hey, do you know how to do this?
Yeah.
And then, of course, we can offer them. And if we're also having trouble, then we can be like, look over and see what other people are doing and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's really good, yeah.
How much time would you say you spend in this room compared to other classes at school?
I know I've consumed a lot of lunch breaks in this classroom because it is pretty sweet.
Coding's been part of what we've done as a school for nearly a decade, and really that's the driving force behind Ken and his team in our ICT department.
What have been some of the benefits that you've seen as the program's progressed?
Teachers, for instance, have embraced it in the areas that we've trialled it because they see it as an area that they can learn easily as well, that they can see that it is a tool to engage kids because really there's no such thing as a behaviour management issue when you're taking kids through these courses. They love it, and we have a number of students over the years who I don't think would have completed their senior secondary schooling and getting their Queensland Certificate of Education if it hadn't been for coding to keep them involved in school.
What are some of the challenges you face being a school in a regional area like Gympie?
We're a low socio-economic area, and like many parts of rural Australia, we bob around with the ebb and flow of the local economy, and at this point in time, kids can see that we've got a resource that they can access at school, and that's crucial because some outside of school don't have that access, and that's important for our community and important for keeping kids engaged.
Was this class one of the reasons you've actually started to come to this school?
It was absolutely the reason I came to this school. This and some of the other computer
and sort of engineering-based stuff.
And so what have you got out of the course so far since you've been here?
Oh, all sorts of things. I'm just starting on building a model for a sort of top-down scrolling shooter, which has been really great. Learning some really powerful, awesome software, some industry standard stuff.
What's something you'd hope to get as a job in the future?
Probably working for a games company, doing coding. That's what I really like, the sort of nice logic-based operations of code.
Dealing with a subject like video games, is it a difficult process for you to convince other teachers, parents, that this can be a learning tool, that you're taking something that was initially a bit of a distraction and flipping it on its head to be a learning tool?
Absolutely. In fact, that was a very big hurdle. It wasn't so much my admin that I had to convince, it was other teachers, that they saw gaming as playing games rather than gaming as designing games, planning the game, programming the game, creating the art for the game. It wasn't actually until I actually had a science head of department who took the class. He sat in on the class and was a student. Having him work all the way through the class with me and him getting the same qualification that the students got, I had another fellow advocate out there as a head of department who was able to help me convince the other staff that no, it wasn't a game, it was a serious process.
Recently, Ken has also expanded the program to one of the local primary schools, where he now teaches game design to students in years 5 and 6.
You know, roughly.
Have you found yourself picking up any coding skills yourself?
Game maker, programming, coding. That's absolutely foreign to me, and it's keeping your head above water curriculum as a teacher, but there's no other option because it's new. It's new to classrooms, it's new to curriculum, it's new to the education department.
And why do you think it is an important thing to foster in children?
Because I know that this is the future. All of these kids, by the time they're adults, every job, every profession is going to be technology orientated. It already is, it's only going to be more so.
A big difference, obviously, between the junior class and the senior is the amount of girls partaking in it. Do you see that as a challenge to bring everyone through the course together?
It is disappointing, the number of female students that drop away as it comes into the senior years, yeah. And I haven't yet been able to reconcile why that is. I think it may just simply be the fact that because it has started as a boy-heavy class and then the girls that are looking at it in junior classes go, I don't really want to break into that larger, fairly boy-centric environment. That said, though, the girls that have managed to stick it out all the way through the class, they've been fantastic. I've got graduates from the class who were girls who are now working in AAA studios. One who went and worked for 2K and was working on the Borderlands, the pre-sequel. So I'm very proud of the girls who do want to stick it out and get right through to the end. They're fantastic.
And what's the relationship like with former students that have taken part in the course?
So I have got students that are now heading up their own studios or working in AAA studios. And I love either having them come back as guest presenters, working with me on particular projects.
One of Ken's former students, Anton, has returned to help out with the program.
So originally the primary school that I went to was a rural primary school, and I had to choose what high school in Gympie I was going to go to, and the defining aspect of my choice was Ken's class. I wanted to be a game developer the moment I walked in that door and saw all of his kids coding away. So if you want to be a musician, you do music at school. If you want to be a computer programmer, you don't really have anywhere to go in most cases. And programming, it's a great opportunity. It gives you sort of another way of thinking, I think, where you sort of analyse things a little bit differently, you break them down, look at them a bit more, and it's a great creative outlet as well. Seeing the kids' faces just light up and having taught them something, it's really completing. Makes you feel good.
For Ken Brady, this project is also a personal endeavour.
Oh my god! But it has a recharge. Let's see that now. Whoa!
So Ken, you're from Gympie originally. In fact, you went to 1 Mile State School and Gympie High as well.
That's right.
Did you ever think you would be back teaching here?
No, I didn't think I'd even be a teacher, actually, to be honest. It was a career choice I made when I realised that I wanted to give something back. I know that sounds a bit corny, but that is what I wanted to do.
The subject you're basically creating and teaching here is one that is giving back to the community.
It is providing an avenue for students to re-engage with the curriculum where otherwise they hadn't.
Yeah.
It's also providing an opportunity for the development of indie development studios to be able to rebase themselves back in town. Once you've got the NBN in your town and you've got no reason, you don't have to be in a big city to be able to be a game development studio.
Yeah.
And can be back in and growing your own economy within your own town.
You've gone out and sort of explored the world and you've seen what's out there and you've brought back these sort of lessons.
Yeah.
It's quite a unique position to be in.
The ability to be able to inspire is awesome. The ability to be able to put a passion into someone is great. It's why I think teachers become teachers and stay teaching.
You mentioned that with this syllabus that you'd like to see Gympie transform, I think, into your own words, it was sort of the Silicon Valley
that'd be
of
fantastic,
Australia.
wouldn't it? Gympie's had so many knocks that to give some way to potentially get back up on its feet a bit would be a nice thing to be able to achieve.
What do you want to see happening well into the future?
The online College of Coding, which has been established through Gympie High, which is slowly starting to permeate out amongst the region, I would like to try and see that take root nationally. Therefore, in the long term, what I'd really like to see is it be able to grow the Australian game development industry.
They just all need to be branded sort of originated or made in Gympie.
Yeah. That's right. Came from Gympie.
Came from Gympie originally, yeah.
That'd be nice.